Michael was coming into the office as a patient, and I developed a strong relationship with a lot of the pastors at my church. We'd go out to eat about once a week, and I noticed, they'd say an off-color joke or whatever, and I started even thinking, what is this Christianity thing anyway? There's got to be more to this than what I'm experiencing, because this is ridiculous. I'm wasting my time while I would be out fishing and hunting, make myself feel better. I'm hanging out with guys that they don't seem real, and I'm not trying to put him on a pedestal, but I just really had never had anybody that was consistent. I like that word, consistent. And Michael was coming in, he would always say things that were just consistent, just real consistent. So I didn't know what else to do, and I just asked him one day, I said, can I take you to lunch? I want to ask you some questions. And so I had a lot of questions. And I didn't tell him what was going on in my life. He didn't know I was going to the boat. As a matter of fact, he probably thought I was doing pretty good, because I told him I was teaching men's studies and all these kinds of Sunday school classes and so forth. But I asked him questions, and we went again the next week. And then the third week, I'll never forget this, he asked me a question. After my questions, he asked, can I ask you a question? I said, yeah. He said, Matt, are you sure you're really saved? I'm going to be honest with you, it made me mad. There might be somebody here today that's been mad at what he's saying, and I want to tell you why, because the truth is offensive. I was mad because what I was looking across the table, I'm thinking, how dare this guy ask me if I'm okay? Why are you so much better than me? And what do you see in me that you would even ask that question? I go to church every week. I teach men's studies, and I'm kind of up here in my church. Why would you ask me a question like that? And I said, well, sure, I'm saved. And he said, well, tell me about your experience. I said, well, I was about 10 or 12, and I told him the whole thing. And he said, so based on that, how did you change after that? What changed about you after that? And I thought, well, nothing really. I mean, I agreed, I believed that Jesus died for me, and I even asked my mom. I remember asking my mom one time, I said, Mom, all you have to do is just believe that he died on that cross. That's all you got to do. Kind of sad, but that's what she told me. And anyway, he asked me, he said, let me ask you a question. He said, you're stating that you're saved, and a lot of people, heck, he said, go out on the street. He said, ask people if they think they're saved, and you'll find most of them will say they are. If you're saved, I want to ask you, what are you saved from? I want you to answer, what are you saved from? And I'll never forget that question, because it just, I couldn't wait for him to give me the answer. The problem is the guy would not answer the question. You guys may have questions that he may not answer them, because sometimes he doesn't answer questions, but he wouldn't answer my question that day, and he took me back to work. I was worse. The guy was not helping me a bit. He said, I want you to think about that. If you're stating that you're saved from something, what are you saved from? And he gave me an illustration. He said, if a guy walked in here and he was smoke coming off of him, and he was running around the restaurant yelling, man, I thank God I've been saved. We might look at him and say, well, obviously he was saved from a fire. Another guy came in dripping wet, saying the same thing we would know. Maybe he was drowning. We could make an assumption there, but what are you saved from? And man, that drove me crazy for about a week. And I couldn't wait till the next week to ask him, all right, I don't know what I'm saved from. I guess hell. He goes, no, that's someday. But you're saying you're saved already. What are you saved from? Another week went by. Miserable again. Finally, he had to give me the answer. And I was the guy that said, I've never heard of God like that. He said, the first part, you're right. He said, you're saved from the penalty. And someday you'll be saved from the presence. But what about in the middle? You're saved from the power of sin. And he explained it to me, and I'll just have to give you this illustration because I love it. We believe there's oxygen in the air right now, but you can't see it. But you know it's there. When you believe in gravity, you can get up on top of the building, and you can even say, I don't believe in gravity, and it's still going to have an effect on you. And sin is described in the Bible as a force or a power that works inside of us. You can't see it, but you can sure feel the effects of it. It works in all of us. He said, have you been saved from that? I said, you're telling me that a man named Jesus can save me from going that boat? Because I can't quit. I I can't quit loving me. Everything I do in my life is all about me. A few weeks went by. He said, yeah. He actually said, yeah, that's what Jesus came to do, save you from that. And if he hasn't, you're not saved. And again, it made me mad. I got mad at all the preachers, the Sunday school teachers. Got a lot of family and friends that aren't saved today. And they believe that church. It makes me mad. A few weeks later, I asked him, I said, how can I be saved? He said, you can't. That's impossible. I said, I don't like that. That's not fair, man. He said, no, you can't. He said, only there is one exception. You seek God with all your heart. You seek him with everything you got. He said, if you went home today and your little boy had been kidnapped, police were all over your yard, would you just go in the house and eat and say, oh, he'll come back? Would you care about your practice? Would you care about the boat and hunting and fishing, your car? Would you care about any of that stuff? No, I wouldn't care about any of that stuff until I found my kid. He said, have you ever sought God like that? I said, not even an ounce of that. Not even close. He said, well, that's why you don't have it, because you won't ever find him. You seek him. You seek him like that. 2 weeks went by, and I tried my best to seek him for everything I had. I couldn't find him, and I was mad. I finally got tired of even trying to get saved. I got tired of everything. Got to the end of my rope. I was ready to die. I said, you know what? Suicide's looking better all the time. I got in the shower, and I spent an hour and a half in the shower, and my hot water ran out. It gets pretty cold in there when the hot water goes out. But I didn't care, because I knew myself, and I knew if I came out of that shower, I was going to be either dead or I was going to change. And I knew I could not change myself. Tried it. Tried everything I could, and I couldn't do it. And I begged God. So if you're that God I heard about, you change me. Change me or I'm going to die tonight. He did. I came out of that shower, and my wife was laying in bed. It was 1:30 in the morning. And I looked at her, and I realized for the first time how selfish I was. I wanted to make it all up. Couldn't do it. If you haven't been changed, you're not saved. That's it. Well, something actually happened today. How do you really know you're saved? Well, stuff like this happens. I invited a girl this thing. She sat right back there. She doesn't even believe in God. And I knew I was supposed to sit by her, and I did. Even I was embarrassed to sing next to her today. I came up there and sat down, and she left. So how do you know you're saved? Is because stuff like that tears you up. But it also drives you to not want to do that again. God hates sin. He loves obedience. And I had to tell you that today, because even you're going to sin when you're saved. But the difference is you're going to hate it. You're going to hate it when you sin. And that's when you know you've been saved. When you sin and you hate it. So I pray that every one of y'all has been saved. I pray that God's saving you right now. Because if he's not, he won't save you in the future either.